Almost every critical system today is driven by high-speed algorithms. Every millisecond, they execute millions of decisions, routing capital and supply chains at light speed. These networks operate on a foundation of binary logic. At the circuit level, a machine is restricted to two states: proceed as a 1 or halt as a 0. It possesses no computational vocabulary for hesitation. When a system encounters market chaos or ambiguous data, it cannot stop to evaluate. It is built to keep moving, so it calculates a statistical probability and outputs an action, treating a mathematical guess as absolute truth. We saw the result during the 2010 flash crash. Automated systems, lacking any mechanism to hesitate, wiped out $1 trillion in market value in roughly 30 minutes. Building systems that cannot pause creates an architectural vulnerability. It leaves society blind at the exact moment a disaster strikes. Lev Goukassian spent his career analyzing this deep structural flaw from a sunlit California study. In the summer of 2025, Lev received a terminal, stage 4 cancer diagnosis. Doctors estimated he had roughly 6 months to live. His personal timeline suddenly became finite, creating a stark contrast with the microsecond execution speeds of the flawed algorithms he studied. He faced a calculation: spend his final days in quiet reflection, or dedicate his remaining energy to addressing a crisis for a future he would never see. He chose to work, guided by the burden of knowing. Once a catastrophic vulnerability is identified, foresight becomes an inescapable obligation to act. Lev did not build his solution in isolation. Instead, he utilized the systems he was trying to govern, orchestrating multiple advanced language models like distinct instruments in a symphony. He forced them to audit one another's logic, creating a workflow of constant friction that ruthlessly exposed superficial assumptions. While the machines provided the raw processing power, Lev remained the architect, enforcing strict boundaries on their output to ensure it met his governance standards. By using machines to check machines, Lev created a model of coordinated cognition, enforcing accountability through constant automated peer review. The result was ternary logic. It solves the binary blind spot by introducing a mandatory third computational state between proceeding and halting. This third state, the epistemic hold, functions as a hardware intersection, physically blocking the execution signal when uncertainty arises. The algorithm is physically held until it generates a permanent cryptographic audit trail documenting the exact nature of the conflict. Lev's non-negotiable rule was no log equals no action. A machine physically cannot execute a command without first committing an unalterable record to a ledger. Breaking the hold requires 3 specific proofs: the lantern to verify truth, the signature to bind responsibility, and the license to grant permission. This process removes the ability for a system to hide its reasoning inside an opaque black box. Every choice is made visible. This architecture moves ethical restraint out of policy manuals and into the hardware itself, making a system's ability to act dependent on its ability to deliberate. Lev positioned this logic as a safeguard for institutional infrastructure, looking towards central banks' unyielding requirements. The framework is designed so no single entity has the power to issue a silent override. This tricameral structure distributes governance across 3 separate bodies: code integrity, human ethics, and resource allocation. Under this model, a digital entity's right to operate depends on its continuous, proven capability to hesitate. This system ensures that civilization inherits machines that structurally refuse to hide their own mistakes. By releasing this framework as open-source documentation, Lev acted as a builder who completed a bridge for others to cross. Because these blueprints are public, institutions can no longer claim unchecked speed as the only path. Understanding this architecture transfers the burden of knowing to the institutions and individuals who must now decide whether to implement it. Lev's final realization was that the true burden of foresight is recognizing the cost of our questions only after it is too late to ask them.